Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the sweltering northeastern corner of South Africa, where we are sitting in the Greater Kruger National Park, 2.2 million hectares of wonderful South Africa that extends into another 1.5 million hectares of Mozambique to the east and Zimbabwe to the north. We are on the western fringes of the Kruger National Park here in a little game reserve called Djuma, and to the west of us, Arathusa, we also traverse. You are on a live sunset, well, not yet, afternoon we'll call it at the moment, sweltering afternoon sunset drive. And it is live, as I say. My name is James Hendry. I will be presenting today. Behind us, making his debut solo on camera, is David Eastbow, correct? Eastall. Sorry, it's a very strange surname. I've never heard it before in my life. On the other vehicle, heading off towards the east, not the Eastall, is Brent Leo Smith, and he is being filmed relatively ably by Andrew Joseph, aka Anant Francis, and in the final control we have got Nicola Austin on the vocals and Leanne making her debut on the keys. So it's good having them with us, and it's better even having you with us. Please talk to us, #SafariLive. If you're on Twitter, questions at wildearth.tv if you happen to be on the email. It is, like I say, a hot day, 37 degrees centigrade, 97 degrees Fahrenheit. So not a coolsome day, and we are in the midst, in case you're a new viewer, of a fairly severe drought. It is February, and the landscape should not look anything like it does in a year of average rainfall. Some buffalo bulls in front of us there, and they, I don't know if you've noticed, have been sort of infiltrated by a hippopotamus bull who is living in this very soupy water here, a water combined with a lot of buffalo dung, some algae, some hippo dung, possibly some urine of about 4 or 5 different species, and no doubt the detritus of the terrapins, whose heads you can see bobbing up and down all over the water there. They're a little bit difficult to see. You might be able to catch 1 or 2 terrapin heads, and those terrapins have been climbing up onto the back of the hippopotamus, alternately sunning themselves and then nipping back down into the water to eat an invertebrate or two, or perhaps even some algae. I'm not sure. I don't think they eat algae, but I've seen their mouths moving very excitedly in amongst the swathes of algae. So that's what's going on here. And then we started the show, of course, with that little herd of elephants, a beautiful herd of 4 elephants. One we know very well from the chopped off trunk that she has, and her 3 cohorts, one of which, or at least 2 of which are her offspring, one of which is maybe a sibling, or a very, or perhaps one of her offspring from I've nearly said earlier marriage, that's why I became tongue-tied, which is totally ridiculous, but maybe her earliest youngster. I think she's only about 25 years old, so it's unlikely that she's had 3 calves by this stage, but it is possible, of course. And thank you all very kindly for your welcomes to David. It is lovely to have him with us. We'll see how he does. Feel free to ask questions about him. I shall put those through, and should he feel the need to answer them, he will. Otherwise, he'll probably just do this, which means that he doesn't wish to answer that sort of a question. Beautiful. Some beautiful oxpeckers there, and I hear from Michelle that it is National Hippo Day. I'm not sure in which nation it's Hippo Day. I don't know that South Africa has a Hippo Day, but perhaps it does. So, well, happy Hippo Day, Peter. There is, of course, another hippopotamus in Gallagher Pan. We'll call him George of Gallagher, and this chap can be Peter of the Pan. And they are experiencing their National Day. How wonderful for them. Now, this morning, Scott and I were out. We were following cat tracks all over the place. The one road that we didn't go, it happened to contain the Nkuhuma Pride on a freshly killed buffalo. Unfortunately, we missed all of that, but out and about this afternoon, Brent Leo Smith, together with Andrew Joseph, aka Anant Francis, and they are with the Lions. Take a look at them now.
Welcome to this evening's Sunset Safari, and we are sitting next to the Nkuhuma Pride, all 5 members present and accounted for, doing what lions do best with a full belly, and that's snooze in the shade, with the occasional rolling over. There's still quite a lot left of their kill, which is looks like a sub-adult buffalo. And isn't that great? It means they should be around here for a day or two, and we might be in luck that the Birmingham boys might come join them. My name is Brent Dale Smith. I have Andrew Francis on camera, and this is the Nkahuma Pride of Lions. Now, they are the lions we see the most. We didn't see them for a while, but really great to have them back. Everything sort of settled down after the ousting of the Matimba males and the Birmingham Coalition taking their place as the rulers of the Northern Sabi Sands. So I'm not sure exactly when this happened, but probably early hours of this morning or late last night. But they haven't fed too much on the carcass. It was actually behind us. I will try to show it to you a bit later. Andrew might be able to just give you a glimpse of where it is. They've tucked it into a bit of shade, but as the day has progressed, the sun is beating down in that area, and they all got full bellies, and there's no big males to contend with, so they're not forcing themselves to eat too quickly. Yes, you look very hot and bothered, madam. Now, this is the little sub-adult, who's not so little anymore, is she? Probably closing on 2.5 or 3 years old now. And soon to be of mating age. And I think her spot in the sun is safe now from the Birminghams. She's sort of old enough now that she's a potential breeding partner, and they're probably not going to kill her. So you can see lots of deep panting as they try to expel some of the heat caused by digestion. It's also an extremely hot day out here in the Lowveld, and these lions will be chuffed that they've got meat and they don't have to move too much. We're going to spend some time here. Hopefully they do start feeding, and I can't see that happening in the next 5 minutes. While we sit with these sleeping lions, I've got a nice little African folklore about lions for everyone. It's how a lion got its roar. And it's a Batoka story. Oh, there we go, nice yawn. And as with most African folklores, when anything mischievous is done by the scrub hare. Oh, bless you. Look at that belly. You can see it flowing. So it's said after creation, all animals only used to eat trees and plants, including lions. And only after man, who was the last animal created, did the other animals start feeding on meat. And the other animals copied man and emulated them. And the lion became the most successful of these meat eaters. And at that time, they had a very quiet voice. They would only whisper to each other. So it made it really easy for them to catch all the different prey species around. So Hare and the other animals got together, and Hare put forward the proposal. We need to give, I think the exact words, lion a voice like the summer thunderstorms, so we can hear when they're coming and we can avoid them. And all the other animals thought this was a splendid idea, but they weren't quite sure how Hare was going to pull this off. And Hare, being the mischievous creature that it is, gave them a wink, a twinkle of his nose, and said, "Leave it to me." And he scuttled off, and he stopped nearby the king of the beasts, big male lion, and said, oh mighty one, your brother is desperately ill, and he sent me to fetch you." Now, Lion, being a family man, was quite worried about his brother, so followed Hare off, and Hare took him on a wild goose race through the bush for kilometers and kilometers till the lion was too tired to even move, and he just slumped in the shade of a tree and went to sleep. The Hare went to his co-conspirator, the honey guide, and the honey guide took him to a nest of bees, a big beehive, and he raided the hive. And he, of course, gave the bonus to the honey guide for helping him. He then took the comb and the honey and dribbled it all around and all over Lion's face and paws, and then went off and hid behind a bush. And it said when the bees returned home from foraging and found their nest raided, they were really, really upset. And right near the hive was this lion covered in honey. So the whole hive began to sting the lion, till eventually He cried out in such great pain that his quiet voice became a monstrous roar. And that is a Batoka story, so actually from the Zambezi Valley. So interesting little African folklore. Whereas at the moment, the lions are not very active. So while we stand by, hopefully these lions are going to move their way to the carcass, or hopefully even pull their carcass into the shade where they are now. But until they do that, let's jump on board with James, who's got another member of the Big Five.
So the same elephant herd, everyone, has just come along into the fringes of this very shallow depression or donga or drainage line or stream. I never know what to call it because it's called so many thousands of different things around the world. Basically dry stream. So there is a little bit of water down below the surface here, which makes the vegetation on the fringes that much greener. And this little herd is moving along through here. We can't really get a much better view than this, I'm afraid. So I don't think we'll be here for long. I'm just going to roll slowly back and see if we can't get a slightly better view. Right, I don't think we'll be able to. The little one is suckling in there. It might